So, guys, we are going to be talking about a game that has been very highly anticipated, especially within the Xbox, fandom. And we're going to be doing a deep dive into none other than State of Decay 3. And State of Decay, guys, look, we've got the first two games that are available on Xbox Game Pass. They've been out for a while, and a lot of people within the State of Decay communities really love these titles, and myself included. I love them for what they are. Sure, they've got issues like, different bugs and glitches here and there, but the overall experience is really cool. Now, when State of Decay 3 got announced all those years ago, and it feels like a while ago, guys. I mean, I think there's definitely some internal issues over at Undead Labs, potentially some, development hell issues happening over there. But nonetheless, State of Decay 3, when that initial teaser trailer came out, I was completely sold on it. It looked like, from that first trailer, it really looked like it was kind of Xbox's attempt at creating a game similar to The Last of Us. And they were just trying to kind of be, have State of Decay 3 be, Xbox's Last of Us title. And then we started getting some information later on. We got another trailer that came out, and certainly it does not look like a Last of Us title, right? It certainly looks like it's down the same vein as the first two games. And I'm really excited about it. But the question is where is this title? And let's talk about the things that we know right here, right now about, the release date, the story, all of those things. We'll break it down, and I would love to hear your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So guys, in an article coming to us from Heather Wald over at Games Radar, Zombie Horror Fest State of Decay 3 is launching in 2026. So that's kind of the first thing, guys. It looks like it's going to be 2026, at least at this point in time, when State of Decay 3 is going to release to the world. And it's unfortunate that it looks like it's getting delayed again. Hopefully it does not get further delays, because we've already been getting delays with State of Decay 3, for a while now. So hopefully they're able to stick to at least a release year and then kind of go from there. But State of Decay 3 has been in the works for some time, with the first official announcement for the next installment in the survival zombie horror game coming back in 2020. It was then pretty quiet on the news front before we at long last got another big update came in the Xbox Game Studios 2024 showcase, which revealed the follow-up to 2018 State of Decay 2 will be putting an even greater emphasis on the survivors this time around. As one of the studios that fall under the Xbox Game Studios list, State of Decay 3 is among some of the most anticipated upcoming Xbox Series X games in the works, but we're still awaiting a more in-depth look at the gameplay and, of course, news on when it will be arriving. But from everything we've seen and heard so far, it certainly sounds like it's stepping things up from the last installment with improvements to co-op and more. And I got to tell you, I'm really excited about, I'm hoping that they are improving the experience in a major way, from a co-op experience and a multiplayer experience. And certainly the story itself, guys, hopefully they're kind of upping their game there as well. But I would say that there were a lot of bugs and a lot of glitches within the multiplayer, some of the co-op modes. And so I would love to see a lot of those things refined, and, I would love to just see everything kind of smoothed out somewhat within State of Decay 3, where it feels like a full-blown incredible experience, because there's so many people, so many of us that are excited about the continuation of this franchise. And we believe that State of Decay could be a very long withstanding, franchise past State of Decay 3. I mean, we're talking, this could be a franchise that goes on for a very long time, but it's really important that you knock, a lot of these things out of the park. State of Decay 3 has got to get knocked out of the park, guys. And I believe that they will do it. I mean, they've been given a lot of time, that being Undead Labs, to get this thing right. And so I'm got fingers crossed, hoping that they're able to knock this thing out of the park, and it's the biggest State of Decay game that we've ever had. So let's talk about the release date for State of Decay 3. Well, guys, Xbox Game Studios is yet to confirm a release date for State of Decay 3 after being announced at the Xbox Game Showcase back in 2020. A trailer later dropped in 2024, but nothing has been confirmed as of yet about when we can expect the third entry to launch. So look, guys, when we talk about the release date for State of Decay 3, It is without question in development hell, or at least it's been in development hell. I mean, from when it was released in 2020 and we got no updates all the way until 2024 when we got another, trailer that didn't have a release date either within it. The game is in development hell, or it certainly has been in development hell, whether there's creative differences over at Undead Labs, whether there is, some kind of pushback from the higher ups over at Xbox or whatever. There could be a multi-layered amount of issues going on with State of Decay 3. It looks like we're getting closer, certainly, but it's been taking way longer than we were anticipating, and I'm sure probably Undead Labs and Xbox were anticipating as well. When we could be getting, the release date, I would say there's a really good chance that we could be getting it at the Xbox Game Showcase this summer, that being in June. And if we don't see it there, I'm sure we're going to be getting an update some point this year in terms of a release date, especially if it's planning on coming out in 2026, which it got pushed back to once again into 2026. Hopefully we get some kind of release date window, or we get a firm release date, which would be perfect, as well as like a gameplay trailer. That would be awesome. Now, State of Decay 3 is set to release on Xbox Series X and PC. Like all the other video games in development under the Xbox Games Studio publishing wing, State of Decay 3 will launch day one on the Xbox Game Pass subscription service and is expected to be available via Xbox Cloud Gaming like its predecessor, State of Decay 2. So obviously, guys, State of Decay is not getting the Gears of War treatment where it's releasing on Xbox as well as on PlayStation. Maybe we're not there yet. Maybe at some point, State of Decay will become not just an Xbox exclusive, but become cross-platform or multi-console. And that way that the State of Decay franchise can continue to grow in terms of player count and things of that nature, because there is a massive State of Decay fan base. I mean, there really is. There's a lot of people who love State of Decay, and I believe if you added it to PlayStation at some point or another, it would just grow that in a drastic way. In terms of the gameplay, guys, obviously, we've still not really seen all that much in the way of State of Decay 3 gameplay, but the studio is aiming to deliver the new ultimate in zombie survival simulation. As for what the next evolution of State of Decay will ultimately look like, a podcast from Xbox's Major Nelson back in 2022 revealed that the game is being developed in Unreal Engine 5, with Undead Labs collaborating with Gears of War developer The Coalition to get the most out of the platform, which I think is awesome. I love that The Coalition is helping them out with State of Decay 3. I truly believe, guys, that this will be the best State of Decay game we've ever gotten. Now, obviously, they've taken a long time. It's been in different processes of development hell, of probably some creative differences over there, but having the Coalition there to help out with Undead Labs to get this thing launched or get it to a really good state, obviously with Unreal Engine 5, it'll be the best looking State of Decay game by a wide margin. And hopefully the story's great, the co-op experiences are great, and the multiplayer is incredible. That's what we're all really hoping for. State of Decay 2 was a survival simulation which let you navigate a zombie apocalypse by shaping your own community of survivors, managing resources, and establishing defenses against a surmounting horde of undead intruders. An Xbox Wire post following the Xbox Game Showcase 2024 detailed that State of Decay 3 is set to build on those foundations in a much larger, truly shared open world. Features from previous installments will be making a comeback with a greater emphasis put on permadeath to really drive the idea that community member has been lost. I think it's important for not just the player to have that remembrance, but the characters in the world as well. Creative director Kevin Patzelt explains on Xbox Wire. So our narrative systems are really going to be there to help support those biggest ones, because there's nothing bigger than losing a community member, especially if there's someone that you invested a lot of time and energy into. I think we need to do a better job of showing that sacrifice is meaningful and how it might impact the community. So, I mean, it sounds really interesting to me. I'm interested to see how they kind of put that into play within State of Decay 3. I think it'll be really interesting. In terms of the co-op modes, guys, the June 2024 Xbox Wire post also detailed that Undead Labs is collaborating with Obsidian Entertainment, the studio behind co-op game Grounded, to bring to life the shared world feature and enable more flexible online co-op. We're heavily emphasizing engaging co-op combat. Patzelt details in Xbox Wire, taking a close look at our level design and approach to how we're building the world to ensure that players can have a blast smashing and shooting zombies together out in the open world. Totally excited about this, guys. I can't wait to run around with my friends within State of Decay 3 and just doing a bunch of crazy, exciting, mindless fun types of things within this world. That's what State of Decay, has really been. Obviously we got a story, which is awesome, but like if you just want to have fun with your friends, you can do that, right? And that's what I think makes State of Decay such a great experience, from, your single player story, your co-op modes, your multiplayer. I'm really excited to see what they do here. Have a really well refined experience for co-op experiences. I think it's going to be great. Now, State of Decay 3 may have been announced in 2020, but it was later reported that the game was still in pre-production as of 2022. This news came out as part of an investigation into developer Undead Labs' workplace culture, in which studio staff put forward allegations of sexism, bullying, and burnout to reporters at Kotaku. And of course, guys, in terms of the development, we've already talked about that. I mean, this is, there has been a long stretch of time where there has been, even just investigations into Undead Labs and what's going on over there, because the game was apparently in pre-production in 2022, but it was announced in 2020 and they showed a reveal trailer in 2020. And so it's created all kinds of chaos over there within Undead Labs and stuff. And I think that now we're starting to we're getting closer and closer, right? They've had to kind of get through the weeds and all the stuff that kind of came along with that. And now we're finally, hopefully, in the home stretch, and we're going to be getting a release date here at the Xbox Game Showcase this year. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear guys' thoughts about it, and what you guys think about the things that we know so far about State of Decay 3. What are you excited about? What are you nervous about? Let me know in the comment section down below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down and out of the way, let's talk about this. So we've been clamoring for information about State of Decay 3, wondering, okay, if there's anything that we can possibly get, just a glimpse of hope. So guys, we've been waiting and hoping for, some kind of information from State of Decay 3 or Undead Labs explaining, like, are we going to maybe see them at the Xbox Game Showcase, which I think is probably something that could be reasonable to expect. Seeing State of Decay 3 there, maybe it's just like a release date trailer or something of that nature, or maybe a little bit of some gameplay as well. I would love to see that at the Xbox Game Showcase. I think it would be huge for us as a fan base to really rally around. They come out with something like that at the Xbox Game Showcase. But I want to take reference from an article that came out from Game Rant and Gabriel Pereza over there. State of Decay 3 could be released early in 2026, according to a well-known journalist. State of Decay 3 is currently one of the most eagerly awaited first-party Xbox titles, but it has been in development for a while, and fans have not been receiving much official information about it. State of Decay 3 is set to be the third entry in the franchise, which started in 2013. Originally, State of Decay 3 was announced in 2020, but it seems that its development has had many challenges since then, and the game suffered from delays and changes, including switching to Unreal Engine. Last year, State of Decay 3 finally received a new trailer after 4 years of complete silence, giving fans high expectations that the game could be out soon. However, it still does not have an official release window. Look, guys, it's without question, we've already talked about this, State of Decay 3 has been in a limbo state, a development hell cycle. It has been probably creative differences at Undead Labs and maybe with the higher-ups at Xbox. They've had to bring in, Obsidian Entertainment. They've had to bring in the Coalition to help out. So there's definitely some issues over at Undead Labs. There is absolutely no doubt about it. But I think we're getting closer finally. Now, Windows Central reporter Ches Gordon has hinted during the Xbox 2 podcast that he believes State of Decay 3 will be out in 2026. According to the journalist, Microsoft was originally considering State of Decay 3's release for 2025, but the title has been delayed once more. Because of this, he believes that the game will be released early in 2026. Overall, it's a theory that makes sense, especially considering that it would not make sense to unveil the State of Decay 3's trailer during the 2024 Xbox Showcase unless there were plans to launch the title soon. So I'm thinking and I'm hoping at the Xbox Game Showcase this year, we get to see, like I said, a release date trailer for State of Decay 3, or something like a gameplay trailer in the very end that says, you know, even if it just says March of 2026 or something like that. Give us a release date, you know, timeline here that we can kind of work with. Obviously, if it's not close to being done yet, don't give it to us. I mean, we don't want to, you know, get our hopes up and then you have to delay the game multiple times. You know, when the game's ready, just tell us that it's coming out like in a certain month or give us an exact release date. That'd be awesome. Something that we as a fan base can rally around. While none of this is official information, Corden is generally reliable and has been insisting on this possible release date for a while. Last year, Corden has already talked about the release date for State of Decay 3. At the time, he claimed that State of Decay 3 would be delayed, being pushed to 2026 instead of Microsoft's initial goal of releasing it in 2025. At the moment, State of Decay 3 is being developed by 3 Xbox studios. Aside from main developer Undead Labs, reports from 2024 indicate that both the Coalition and Obsidian Entertainment have been helping out with the open world zombie game. According to these reports, the 2 additional studios were helping out to deepen the combat system, design enemy behaviors, and improve animation. It's not known how many workers in these companies actually helped, though. Obsidian has recently released Avowed and is working on the Outer Worlds 2, while the Coalition is busy with Gears of War E-Day. In any case, time will tell whether Undead Labs will be able to release State of Decay 3 early in 2026 or not. And look, guys, I think that if the game is ready, release it in early 2026. Make sure it's a decent way away, though, from GTA 6 in May. If they stick with May 26 of next year, stay away from that date. Maybe staying ahead of it would be a good idea, especially if you're going to release Gears of War E-Day in the fall. I probably wouldn't release State of Decay 3, you know, alongside Gears of War E-Day in the fall. I probably would want to keep those two separated as well. So early 2026 makes the most sense for State of Decay 3. The only other time of year that makes sense would be Halloween of 2026. But once again, I think you'd be competing with Gears of War if it comes out in fall of 2026. So it'll be interesting to see what direction they decide to go in here, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about it in the comment section down below. When do you think State of Decay 3 is going to be releasing to the world? I'd love to hear your thoughts about it, and what do you all think this game could potentially encompass? Let us know in that comment section down below, and let us know your thoughts.